Hi, it's Glenn from Glenn's Car Collection, and on this episode, the C7 Corvette. Hey guys, it's Glenn from Glenn's Car Collection, and today we're driving a 2014 C7 Corvette. Now, the C7 was the 2014 was the first year for the C7. This is actually a very special car. It's in Lime Rock Green, after the racetrack, Lime Rock Park in Lakeville, Connecticut, and it was a one-year-only color, right? It was a one-year-only color. Yeah, and do you know how many they made in 2014 in this color?
For Lime Rock Green, total production was somewhere around 1,500. In this trim, Z51 stick, somewhere around 150.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
so
that's in stick in non-convertible coupe. About 150.
Wow, that's pretty low. Yeah, I read a statistic. I think the Corvettes are about 73 or 75% automatics or something like that.
Yeah, most of them are automatics. Yeah. And unfortunately, the green wasn't a big seller, so they discontinued it. But
this green is really a beautiful color. Hopefully it shows up in the intro. You really have to have the light hit it to see it. I think the problem is when people are looking at pictures online of cars for sale or dealership inventory, it just looks like a very dark, almost like polo green.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and you don't see how nice this color really is.
It has a flake in it where the sun hits it, a nice sunny day. It really takes on a whole new look. And when I bring this car to shows or just driving around in general on a Sunday, that's the first thing people comment on is the color. But again, if it's a dull day, you're pretty much stuck with a car that looks a little bit black or almost like a dull brownish look.
Ben and I have been to a lot of car shows together, or Cars and Coffee, and you know, this car gets as much attention as any of my cars. The green really pops, and really nobody's ever seen one in this color, so it's
I haven't seen one. Yeah, I have not seen one on the road since I've had this, which is closing in on 2 years, a green one. So it's definitely unique for you know, separates it, you know, from other Corvettes. Otherwise, it's, you know, just another Corvette, but the green definitely gives it a personality.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll have to get a green one and then I'll park right next to it.
It makes for a good Christmas card if you know someone who has a red one.
Oh yeah. Like I have Halloween. I have orange and black.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay. Well, yeah. there you go.
Now the first thing now this is a Z51 car. So tell us what comes with the Z51 options.
And the Z51 gets you a few things. Most importantly, it really comes down to suspension upgrades. bigger wheels, 19s and 20s. You get slotted rotors. You get a dry sump. You get the brake, the diameter of the rotor. I don't know if that's any different than the base, but it's really more for a suspension. It's a firmer ride than the base. Horsepower-wise, they're identical, base versus Z51. Again, it comes down to the dry sump and the suspension and the brakes.
Yeah, this car, you definitely notice the difference with the brakes, and they all have limited slips, right?
Yeah, they're electronically limited slip.
Now you have a real good heads-up display. I'll try to capture it on camera later. Oh wow, is that a G meter too?
Yes, there's a G
wow.
meter. It'll give you a 0 to 60 time, not necessarily on the heads-up display, but through the dash. You can do a lap counter. You can do 0 to 60. Of course, you can see your G's, and there's different layouts for the heads-up display that you can see.
Now I just did a rev match, so this has, I think from the automatic Corvette steering wheel, right? They have the buttons on there for the shifters, and for the manuals, they made it rev matching.
Correct.
Buttons, right?
So yeah, a lot of people think when they see the stick and then they see the paddles, they don't know what to think if it's an automatic or if it's a stick. But the rev matching is a really neat feature for the car. It's unique to the C7. Never in another Corvette year, and it picks exactly where the engine RPM needs to be when you hit the rev matching. So when you normally double clutch and you blip the gas, it blips the gas for you. So all you do is you throw it into neutral, it blips the gas, and then you throw it right into the gear you need to throw it into. So and it hits it right on mark where it needs to be. So it's cool. Definitely sounds nice.
The best thing about the rev matching is you can shut it off. So unlike my M2, where you got to shut off everything to be able to heel toe yourself, here it's just a flick of the button. So
flick of the button, right?
Yeah, we're behind some slow cars right now, so I'm having a rev match for me. If I had some open road, I'd probably do the rev matching myself.
And it'll indicate what gear you're in, and if it's in rev match mode, it'll be in orange. If it's in non-rev match mode, it'll be in white. So you know what gear you're in.
Oh, okay.
So right now
it's in orange.
It's in orange, so you're in rev match.
Okay.
And once you click the button, the paddle, it goes off.
Go. Yep.
But there's nothing. You don't click the paddles every time you rev match. It's just essentially those paddles are a button.
Right.
It's essentially that's all it is a button. Fancy looking button.
Now you have the that free-flowing exhaust on this because it sounds really good.
Yeah, so this has...
So now I'm rev matching myself, so
yeah.
I did it okay. I'm so used to doing it myself.
You're right, well that's the thing, but then you get a little spoiled with the button, then you just kind of try it out. But the exhaust is a high flow, it's like a dual chamber exhaust, so when you go over a certain RPM, I want to say maybe 4,000 RPM, there's a baffle in the exhaust pipe that opens up, and it really opens up the sound much nicer, much deeper.
And what mode are we in right now?
Right now, well, it's done manually, so for the exhaust. So right now, the baffle is going to be closed. But if you were to just stomp on it right now, at around 4,000, you would hear that like a more of a wide open, like wah.
Okay.
So kind of like a VTEC type thing.
Yeah, like the Aston Martins do that too. I think it's also at 4,000.
Right. So otherwise, it's more tame. So the Corvette doesn't sound like much, and then you get on it, and all of a sudden you're like, damn,
Now, is there a way to keep it open all the time?
I think there's a like a little aftermarket thing you can buy
just
that
like
keeps the
Aston
baffle.
Martin, right?
Yeah, like you can see the baffle in the exhaust tube, and you could literally maybe even remove it. I don't know, but I know people have done something to kind of keep it open all the time.
Okay, so there is such a mod.
Absolutely.
And this has the skip shift still?
Unfortunately.
Yeah, now what people might not know about me, I've owned 3 Corvettes. So the last one I've owned, I bought them all used, because I think they're great bargains used, just like you got this slightly used. And the last one I had was a C5, Z06 Electron Blue. And then I had two C4s, an Admiral Blue, and then the first one I had was actually a Polo Green with the tan interior. So on this one, you actually picked up in 2015 and 2014 model?
Yeah, I picked this one up in 2015, in June of 2015. It was a dealer demo car.
There's an adjustable suspension on this too?
So what's really neat about this generation, it's super techy. I had a C6 Grand Sport 2012.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Centennial edition. Yeah, beautiful.
For a very short time.
Yeah. Well, I got into one of these, and that's all she wrote. But the C6 versus the C7 in terms of technology is night and day. While the C6 still is a great handling Corvette, the C7 has just an amazing amount of technology. One of the nice things they have is something where you can go into various driving modes. There's, I believe, 5 driving modes from economy all the way up to track. And when you switch it through the modes, you instantly notice a difference in the steering wheel getting tighter and in the suspension getting stiffer. So if you were to hit a pothole in, let's just say, econo mode, it might be more like a Cadillac.
What mode are we in right now?
So right now we're in sport. So sport is one down from track.
Okay. There's 3 modes: comfort, sport, track.
There's weather, economy, touring, sport, track.
Wow.
And then within the track setting, there's then wet, race 1, race 2. And race 2 is really your last setting before you turn off all of the traction control, stability control features. So you can do that, and then you're pretty much on your own. There's absolutely no nannies to help you out. But in the track mode, the wheel gets very tight. Any bumps, potholes, things like that, you definitely feel it.
Yeah.
And it really is neat. That's not something that you had in the previous generations.
Right. Can we put it in track mode now?
So I'm going to put it.
We're only one mode underneath it, right?
Yeah. So we're one mode.
Okay.
So I'm gonna switch to track, and in about 2 or 3 seconds, you'll start to feel.
Okay.
Okay. So we are now in track.
Yeah, I feel the steering wheel.
The wheel starts to get tight. Right.
Now, what about the stability control, traction control? Did that come off?
All of that stays on.
Okay.
But it changes
the threshold.
It changes the threshold, so the throttle response is quicker in track.
Okay.
Yeah. The braking application is less in track, so it gives the driver more control over the car.
Right. I just went to a car show yesterday, and they had a convertible Grand Sport in like a charcoal gray, whatever that color's called.
Oh, I think Shark.
With bright blue seats. I'll have to show you the pictures.
Beautiful.
Yeah, everybody loved it, that's for sure.
Oh, those seats are beautiful. The Grand Sport is just unbelievable.
Now, a Grand Sport is basically the C06 body suspension brakes, right?
Yep.
Without the Z06 engine.
Correct.
So it has this 6.2 liter.
Correct. Same
about
motor
the same
as this.
horsepower, maybe 10 horsepower
It's
more,
the same.
I think, right?
I think it's the same.
Okay. And this is what, with the free-flowing exhaust, this is about 460 horsepower?
460, yeah.
And the torque is also 460.
460.
So that's a big difference I noticed compared to driving my cars, like say the NSX or the M2. They don't have the torque that this car has.
No.
So the most immediate thing you notice is the torque.
Right. Right. I mean, when I too, we both had our NSX days, or I had mine, and the first thing, because I went from the NSX to the Corvette, and
right. And the Corvette previous to that, right?
Previous to that, yeah. And I immediately realized how slow the NSX was. Not putting the car down, because I wish I could still have it today. But that again was 1990s technology. Off the line, that car, was was not a torquey car at all, but it surely made up for it in its handling and other characteristics.
Yeah, now you had an NA1 NSX like I did. You had a 96, I had a 95. Right. 97, they went to the slightly bigger motor, the 6-speed manual, the 3.2, 20 more horsepower.
Right.
Now, we drove these cars back to back. You drove my 05 NSX,
yes.
the blue one. When I drove this for the
yes.
first time, what did you think that the 05 was faster than your 96?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I was a little bit surprised at how much more low end that car seemed to have than my 96. So, you know, give it to the NSX for beefing it up a bit there. And again, when you're talking about a car that has 460 foot-pounds of torque, you know, that's just a ton of power down low. And the NSX was pretty kept up. If I'm not mistaken, we kind of kept up with the Corvette.
And you thought the gearbox was one of the best in the NSX, right?
Hands down on the NSX gearbox.
Right, just like the S2000. Great
just
gearbox.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Smooth. Everything about it's nice.
Yeah, you can really hear the rev matching here. Yeah. I love this heads-up display.
It's
like,
cool.
Yeah,
it spoils you because you go into something else and you're like, wait a second, you really keep your eye on the road, and that's the nice thing about it.
Now, did your Centennial Vet have that?
Yes.
Okay, because the first one I had two C4s, then went to the C5 Z06, and the Z5 Z06 had that. Mine was an 02, the first year, the 405 horsepower.
Right.
And it's like, why can't every car have that? You know, like the M4 GTS that I drove, whose video will probably be posted before this review, it had a heads-up display too, but it only showed speed. And that's a $140,000 car.
Yeah.
This is starts in the 50s, and it's got everything. It's got a G meter.
Corvette.
It's got
That's
a lot of bang for the buck. Now, what do you think a car like this is worth? I mean, the C7s, my theory is the C7s are so good, they've been holding their value a lot more.
To a degree. They're dropping off a little bit.
And most 14s are in Z51 cars like this.
Right.
Because they had such a backlog from the factory that very few people... I mean, you got it because you bought a used.
Right.
You could pick and choose your car. If you were buying a new, you probably wouldn't have gotten a Z51.
I've seen them for less than 40 here and there, but we're talking about 50,000 miles.
Okay, but stick shifts and everything.
Yes, correct. It's like anything else. They're already talking about the C8. So once the C8 comes out,
it'll push this.
It'll push,
Guys, so this is our review of the C7 Corvette. I'd like to thank Ben for allowing me to review his great car. Trying to get some American cars on the channel. I know we have a lot of BMWs and German cars. We did a Camaro SS 2017 convertible and stick that was posted a couple months ago. Now we have the Corvette, so we certainly like to do like a Mustang GT350, a Grand Sport, maybe a ZR1 from the C6 generation. So if you want me to review your car, email me at glenscarcollection@gmail.com. That's GLENNS, carcollection@gmail.com. And be sure to like these videos. Be sure to subscribe to our channel. We post new videos almost every day. And be sure to share these videos so our channel can grow. Thanks again for watching.